Hello and welcome. I am A.M. Snyder from Snyder's Sunshine Art Studio, where creativity shines. With over 20 plus years of public school teaching experience, I bring step-by-step art instruction and ready-to-use art lessons to spark creativity in students and offer art teachers a much-needed reprieve. So let's create something wonderful together. I am here to shine some creativity into your world with a shining star today. We are on the verge of celebrating Memorial Day, and then in June there's Flag Day, and of course in July is the 4th of July. So I was thinking that we would use the stars and the stripes as a way to develop our artwork here. And I'm going to show you how to explain the process of drawing a nice star. Many students desire to draw a star that looks like perfect without the lines inside of the star. And I know as a child, I myself always wanted to draw those perfect looking stars myself. And I really practiced at doing it as an elementary student, when I believe I saw a teacher able to do it, but I'm not sure anymore. But I do know that as a child, I too wanted to draw the amazing star. The options on how to teach drawing a star, a 5-pointed star. And then after that, we can discuss how to decorate it with patterns and designs, the stars and the stripes, to make it a little more exciting. Alrighty, so let's start off with drawing our star. And I have 2 sheets of paper here because I'm going to draw with a Sharpie and I'm going to draw with pencil just so we can all see what I'm doing. To start off with, I explain to students, draw a letter V, draw lightly, nice and big, letter V. Now, after the letter V is drawn, we turn it around. Turn it around. Draw letter V, turn it around. Now, long ago, I used to say, draw the letter A, and then the crossbar goes really long. But students still seem to struggle with that. So, letter V, flip it around. Now, we are going to draw through the center a horizontal line. Alright, so I'm going to just keep going with pencil here and not use the Sharpie. Okay, so again, letter V, flip it or turn it, and then we have the cross line, straight horizontal line. Now, I like to say that horizontal, vertical, and diagonal are directions of the lines. Any line can go in those directions. I know art teachers usually say these lines are called horizontal and diagonal and vertical, and they're referring to just the straight line. And I struggle with that. So just throwing that out there. So we are going to draw straight lines, making the letter X, and these straight lines are going in a diagonal. All right, that makes sense, right? Diagonal to make a letter X. And we are drawing lightly. That's the key, drawing lightly. Students struggle with that, especially if you're an art teacher, you know that. Now that we drew lightly, we can draw around the star and erase the inside, or we can draw on the outside and erase the inside. I like drawing on the outside because in essence that allows me to change the star and make it look a little better if things are not totally aligned the way I would like them to. If for some reason this is more narrow, this is more wide, which it actually is, I'm fine with that. So I'm just going to erase everything inside. Now I am using a half sheet of paper and then cut that half sheet of paper into a square. So that is what I'm using. So I had an entire 9x12 sheet of paper that I divided into 4 sections. I have these and I have these little pieces. Now there's a reason I have the little pieces. I'll explain that soon. Okay. Alright, So that was one way to draw a star. Apologies, I just keep hitting my watch on the bar that's holding the camera, so if you hear a ding, that's what that is. Now, to draw a different kind of star without the cross lines, we could start with the upside down letter V again. So if I wanted to, I could start with letter V, right? So letter V takes up the middle of the bottom portion and it goes towards the middle. Then we flip it. Then we do the less than greater than symbols, the waka waka symbols. And then we add the W. And that will give us a star. There's another option. We could start with the letter M. Letter M. We can turn it. We could do the waka waka symbols. And then we can add the top. Now, when I taught this lesson, I showed the students two ways we practiced. We actually practiced on the scrap paper. So I had them fold the paper, and then on one part of it, I explained how to draw the star one way, then I explained how to draw it another way. And then they used those two methods to go to their final artwork. So again, another way we could draw the star is to start with the W. We could start with W. And then we have the waka waka symbols and the upside down V. And that gives us somewhat of a decent start. This W throws it off a little bit because I think we like the idea of the points going out. So that throws it off. So we want to keep that in mind. Okay? So the W method may not be the best option, but it is great to show because many students don't like all the lines and then they have to erase. So showing the upside down V halfway down the page and then the waka waka and then doing the bottom works just well. Now, there's just one more way we could do this. We could use circle. Again, we're going to draw lightly, and then we can draw points going around the circle. And that will give us our star. So I think, if I'm doing this right, we divide the circle up. You can see where we get these points. So there's a point, there's a point, there's a point, and there's a point. And that will give us a star as well. So many different ways to get that beautiful star that we want to use for our amazing artwork. All right, now that we have the star, this is my practice sheet. Remember I was saying about the scrap paper, the students. So now on the back, I'm going to use Sharpie for this so that it's visible. And divide the back up into 4 sections. And then what I will do as a teacher is explain to the students we're going to practice some patterns. We're going to use lines and shapes and lines and shapes and lines and shapes because patterns repeat. And we're going to use space. So line, space, shape, space, line, shape, space, shape, line, space, shape, space. And if you keep saying it, you get tongue-tied and your mouth gets dry and it's hard to say. But the repetition, verbally saying that, helps to drive home that patterns repeat. Elements of art in essence. All right, so the first one I like to suggest is using, because of the space, I tell them we're going to draw 2 lines, 2 straight lines, and they're spaced out, not squished together. And then we're going to draw a circle, and we're going to use space. We can always use our finger to help guide us with the spacing, and a circle, and a space, and a circle, and a space. Now, wherever there's space below it or our side of it, we draw a circle. And that will give us a nice spaced out pattern. Line, circle, line, circle, line, circle, line, circle. Okay, so there's a variation if I just grab this other piece here. The same idea, straight lines and circles, if we go at a diagonal instead of horizontal or vertical, and we do the same thing. So, depending on the direction that student's working, it really doesn't matter. You're still showing the pattern, it creates a design, and that's the goal. Alright, so let's do a wavy line here. And I'm going to go at a diagonal with the wavy line. And then I'm going to add a double. It's a double wavy line. And then I'm going to add some stripes. Stripe, 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 stripe. And that will give us a fun design as well. Okay, so again, all we're doing is repeating lines and shapes right now, and we're spacing them out to help guide the students on what they can do with their star. If you want to, you can always give the students another piece of scrap paper and give them the challenge to come up with their own patterns. So I'm using, in essence, upside down letter V. I could have just drawn it like a V. And then I'm going to use a diamond in here. But here's where you could, as practice, say you can draw any shape you want in there. Okay, a star, a flower, cloudy puff, and so on. Alright, so our next pattern that we will practice is going to be, it's going to be a little more challenging because we're going to cross the lines. I'm going to use a straight line, but it could be a wavy line, could be a bumpy line, and so on. So they're going at a diagonal, straight line's going at a diagonal. It's going to create a checkerboard effect, right? And then you can have the students put in any shape they want. So for this one, I'll put in the fun heart because students like the heart. And then they're empty next to it. Heart, empty, empty, heart, empty, empty, heart, empty. Alright, now we have 4 possible ideas that can decorate these stars. So there's lots of options here. We can have students draw from, when I did this lesson I called it the stars armpits, but I don't know how correct that is here. But it caught their attention and it kept them focused, and that's the goal. So we're radiating out with our straight lines. After we have our straight lines radiating out from the center, we can now take our designs and put them in there. Now I emphasize to the students that they are supposed to draw with a pencil first. Everything gets drawn with a pencil. You can see that I have step 3 written on here. Everything gets drawn with a pencil. After it's drawn with pencil, here's step 4. We start to trace over it with the Sharpie. Okay? For some reason, they want to start tracing, then they want to draw with their pencil, then they want to color some, and then it's like they're all over the place. It's like, just do one thing at a time. It makes it a lot cleaner and easier. So, because I am using the Sharpie, I am going to outline this. I know, it goes against what I just said. But I'm the teacher, and I'm skilled. So, alright, so now I have all these spaces. I'm going to add these designs inside, and most likely I'm going to repeat wavy, 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 wavy. You can always emphasize that fingers fit in to allow for spacing. And now I'm going to put in the straight lines, straight, straight, straight. And instead of going the same direction, I'm going to go in a different direction. And that brings us to finishing that part. I think I do want to repeat that down here. I'm going to repeat it here. Now, after you do the practice with the students, you know there's more spaces than the 4 that we did. Emphasize that they should come up with their own ideas by repeating lines and shapes. That does give many students a challenge, and it promotes their own creative thinking instead of just copying the ideas that you're producing with them. Alright, so now I'm going to use the upside down V's, and it's going to create a zigzag effect. And I'm going to put in an arrow shape instead of the diamond I had on the practice. And I want to repeat that over here, I believe. Let's do it here. Now, you want to also emphasize to the students that you are not requiring them to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different designs. Repeating them is fine as long as they're not right next to each other to add that variety. And now we're going to decorate the bottom one here. I use straight lines. Radial balance, everything's coming out of the middle and going around, so you can connect balance into your design if you want to go there. I'm focusing on the idea of pattern, but you can also touch on balance with this lesson. Okay, so that one's designed with radial balance, right? It's coming out of the middle, going around with these rays that are coming out. With this one, we're going to do radial balance again, but instead of having the armpits of the stars, as I said, you can do the points and divide it, or you can draw around the outside of the star. You can draw on the inside of the star. I'm going to draw on the inside of a star, and then I'm going to explain a little more as I go along here. So I'm layering now. I'm drawing on the outside. Nice big spaces, not all squished together. I'm going to take my ideas here, and if I look at this one here, you can see we have some different ideas going on. So I'm going to draw from that as well. Okay. So on the inside here, I'm going to use the bumpy line. Nice big bumpy line. Taking my time. Not squishy and narrow. And then I'm going to draw curves. And then on the next layer, I'm going to use this hearts and the stripes here. And every other one's going to have the hearts. Now, this could be a little challenging because when I'm finished going around, I could end up with 2 hearts next to each other. And that's where I'm like, either I leave it be or I add another line. So I'm almost there. So let's see if this is space, heart, space, heart, space, heart. I would end up with a heart there. If I was going around, this is heart, space, and then this is heart, space. How would that be? It would be, this would be heart, heart, space, heart. Somehow, if I had 2 here, I'd probably have to figure out where I could put another line just to throw it off. But it'll work here. Okay. Now, I'm making a choice here to repeat the same idea. I could use a different one, and that's fine. Alright, so I did do this lesson with first, and I did it with grade K, excuse me. So I did do this lesson with first grade and second grade, and I discovered when I did it with second grade first that I had to really water down the instructions. I had to do one thing, then they had to do one thing, then I had to do one thing, then they did one thing, and that would help them. By explaining things too quickly or giving them too many steps, their artwork ended up not being as up to par as I would have liked. Knowing that, I did this with first grade and I broke it down. And instead of doing the practice here with them, I, in essence, did everything on the star with them, and I gave them choices. So I said, we're going to divide the star, and in this space you have the choice of a straight line or a wavy line. In this space you have the choice of a zigzag or the letter V to produce your pattern, and then you have choice of a shape, and then that allowed them to have some flexibility in making their own artwork, but it also allowed them to have a successful, clean, organized work of art. So things to keep in mind. Now, the last step is to color the star. I started coloring this with crayon because I wanted this to be a quick assignment done in an hour. So I didn't want to have too many supplies, and markers tend to wear out. I have my own markers. I used the primary colors because I thought that looked pretty patriotic in essence. The yellow gives that shining effect against the blue and the red, and then of course we leave the white, and that gives us more of the patriotic feel. You can have the students color the star. You can have the students write words on the star like freedom, peace, USA. Anything like that is fine. If you have metallic colors you want the students to use, you can let students use metallic colors or glitter glue to make it sparkle. There are a lot of other possibilities to make this particular work of art a little more exciting, to carry it out to another day or another hour, depending on how long your art classes are. Mine are always an hour. And so you can have them draw the patterns. You can read a book about the flag or about Memorial Day, show a video, do the drawing part, and then the next time have them color, cut and paste, or collage, or add glitter, or whatever you'd like them to do. So you could draw this out for more than one class period, depending on how long your class is and what materials you want them to use. I just noticed I missed that. So I am using marker because I thought marker might be a little more bright. So there's a possibility for you. I would not use paint because I think that would ruin the patterns that we're trying to hold on to here with the colors getting blended together. Students of the younger grades, even older ones, seem to have struggles with paint dripping where they don't want it to go. Okay, so I did everything in the light color first. I used the blue next. And color. Yes. No. Alright, so I'm not going to color. I'm just going to use straight lines. Now, I tend to tell students to start with the lighter colors. Sometimes I even write it on the board for the sequence. Start with your yellow and your orange so the tips of those markers don't get messed up. And then you use the next set of light colors, the medium ones like green. And then the last ones are going to be your darker colors like purple and black. It really doesn't matter what I do, and I'm sure as an art teacher out there, you know, we try all these things, hoping to keep the art supplies clean, helping the kids to be successful, and as much breath we keep putting out there with directions and writing it down and rehearsing it and saying it and having them repeat it back, we still struggle. You know, I really like is those students who are always listening and then can be like the table teacher. They're like, well, that's what she said. She said, do this. And then I don't have to repeat myself because I had that student at the table who was really listening. So I like those table teachers. Those are great. I'm hoping you have table teachers too. Alright, so I'm not going to continue coloring this on the video because I know that you understand where this is going. You are a creative person and you can see how this is going to get filled in with our patriotic colors. And as I continue here, I think about playing cards and the limited colors on playing cards. So it looks very bright, like those kind of cards as well. Very eye-catching. And as I wrap up this last heart here, some other ideas that came to mind, of course I would continue to color more of that, is to have the star drawn in a rhombus diamond-like effect. So the point of the star would go here, and then the sides would go here, and then of course the legs of the star. And then you could have the students make two different ones, and then you sandwich them together with a hanger inside, and then they have something they can hang up. That could be kind of fun. And if it twirled, they would have two-sided artwork that looks really fun, which would draw the assignment out even further. But I came up with this idea, well, the night before I taught it, because I knew Memorial Day was coming. And I thought, what could I do to celebrate that time of year that we recognize those individuals who and families who have sacrificed for our freedom. And I'm so grateful to have the freedom to shine creativity into your world today. So hopefully you've gained something new to add to your teaching of art. And if you are a student watching, hopefully you have enjoyed learning how to draw that star, because I know kids really like that. All right, A.M. Snyder here. Thankful again that you've joined me. Until next time, bye-bye.